Beautiful combat sports fans, boxing fans, and MMA fans. I mean, listen. Last night's Misfit card was incredibly entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed every single fight. And especially because there was no boxing or MMA last night. There was only the Misfits card, so we watched it and absolutely had a blast. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. The main event. My incredible Luke Rockhold. My goodness, I mean, listen. I love Luke Rockhold. I've been watching Luke for the longest. Luke Rockhold, what a tongue twister. Listen, I love Luke. I absolutely love the man. Been watching him for over a decade now. And in my fight breakdown, like I predicted, I said that I will be praying to God that Luke can clean Darren's clock. But more than likely, Darren will knock him out. Why? Because simply, Darren is a better boxer. And Luke, in MMA, I mean, listen. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, actually, if you watch the Luke versus Darren fight last night, it was identical to Luke's fight in the UFC versus Jan Blachowicz. He was winning the entire first round, but he got clipped in the final 20 seconds and he wanted to get it back. And he got eager and got dropped at the last second of the first round versus Darren, and at the last second of the first round versus Jan Blachowicz. The exact same sequence. What does that show you? That shows you Luke's lack of IQ and lack of patience. Came out, I mean, listen, he actually looked good early on in that first round. But, usual Luke Rockhold style, he got so confident, started putting his hands down. I mean, it was like he was walking on eggshells. It was only a matter of time, you can tell, while Darren was extremely tight with his high guard. And what happened? Got dropped again in the second, but didn't count it. But that final knockdown, oh my God. Oh my God, it was a horrible knockout. And listen, like I said in my breakdown, Luke Rockhold, either he finishes you in style or he gets absolutely eviscerated in style. And that is what happened last night, ladies and gentlemen. The man got absolutely annihilated in fashion. Luke Rockhold style. You gotta love Luke Rockhold. That's the thing. He either finishes you in spectacular fashion, or what happened last night, usually what happens when Luke Rockhold loses. Oh my God, that was horrible. But much respect to the legend and the icon and the former UFC undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Luke. Love the man, absolutely love him, support him. I mean, listen, Luke, I mean, how many times has the man been knocked out now? Countless. But I don't care. I will still support Luke Rockhold no matter who he fights. I will always be rooting for the man. No question. What's next? I mean, the man probably should have retired. He even said after his Paulo Costa fight, final UFC fight, he was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm old. I'm done. But then actually fought here. A few minutes away from here, he fought Joe Schilling, knocked him out in his home, in his setting, kickboxing setting. Went to Mike Perry's home, bare knuckle ring, gave him a fight, rocked him, wobbled him, but then got his teeth broken and basically quit the fight. And again went to Darren's home now. Darren's been finding a lot of success in the boxing ring. Went to Darren's home. Not just home inside the boxing ring, but hometown also. Well, home country, not hometown. But this is what you gotta love about Luke Rockhold. The man is an absolute dog. He's an absolute warrior. And he fears no man. And actually, I remember the story told by Javier Mendez, the former coach, MMA coach of Luke Rockhold. He said the story that like 10-15 years ago, Luke was on his skateboard in California and he got jumped by a few guys and they like absolutely beat the crap out of him. started stomping him. And then Luke is such a dog. He followed them to where they live. And he found out where they live. And he came back the next day with vengeance on his mind and beat the absolute crap out of all of them. And that's what you gotta love about Luke. The man is an absolute dog. Nonetheless, let's talk about Darren Till. Darren Till looked phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. The man is an absolute monster in this influencer scene. I mean, I don't expect anyone to fight him. I don't expect KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all these guys. I mean, Jake probably would fight him. Jake is also a dog. But, I don't know. I mean, he called out Carl Froch. I don't think that's a very wise idea for Carl Froch to come back, because I believe he would get absolutely destroyed, because the man is simply 50 years old and he's been retired for 11 years. So, yeah, I guess congratulations to the Liverpudlian Darren Till, an absolute monster. And listen, the man always wanted to be a star in the UFC. He was this close to becoming a star. But just like Mike Perry, they were this close to becoming stars in the UFC, but then they left. But because they have so much confidence and because they have so much high hopes in themselves and they never stop believing in themselves, they went on to become stars in different organizations and in different sports. Now, let's talk about Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy. The man won, and I cannot lie, I was emotional when Tony won. I mean, listen, the stoppage was horrible, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that at all. Forget that. Tony Ferguson won his first fight in nearly 7 years. He was on a 8-fight losing streak. He was on the longest UFC losing streak in history. He went from having the longest winning streak in lightweight history to the longest losing streak in UFC history, period. He was getting pieced up. He was getting outboxed. But this man, Salt Papi, he is, how can I say this? He is a polished boxer. So the moment you make it an ugly fight, he crumbles. And Tony didn't throw a single punch in that first round. He was just getting his head jabbed off, and he was getting absolutely pieced up with the two. But I don't know, what can you say? What can you say, ladies and gentlemen? Tony Ferguson weathered the early storm, and even never mind what I was about to say regarding the stoppage. Tony Ferguson won, and that is all that matters. And Tony Ferguson, what's next for the man? Honestly, I don't want to see Tony Ferguson in MMA anymore. I don't want to see Tony Ferguson have a single MMA fight ever. I think that the man found his retirement home. The man should finish his career in the influencer scene, boxing inexperienced combat athletes. That's it. So much respect to Tony Ferguson, the legend, the icon, the man who we all grew up watching. The man proved me wrong. I made a video, I said Tony Ferguson is finished and he's about to get destroyed and knocked out by Salt Papi. But listen, I love it when I'm wrong. There's a difference between me making a prediction and there's a difference between me wanting someone to win. I wanted Tony to win, but I didn't give the man a single shot. And you love to see it. Tony Ferguson won the fight. And honestly, after the co-main event, I didn't care what was going to happen in the main event. I was gonna sleep comfortably no matter what. Why? Because our beloved Tony Ferguson secured the W. Now, who's next for Tony? I don't know. Give him whoever, but give him anyone who can't punch. Because I love Tony and I don't want to see Tony get hurt. I really don't want to see Tony get hurt. So much respect to the legend, to the icon, to the Hall of Famer. I don't know if he's going to be a UFC Hall of Famer, but he should be. He definitely should be. So much respect to Tony Ferguson. The man is an absolute legend. What else did we have? We had the Dillon Danis fight. He fought some guy who never had a fight in his life, who never had a professional fight in his life, I believe. And I'm not even sure, was it a professional MMA fight? I believe it was. Wait, am I recording? Yeah, I mean, what can you say about the fight? I mean, Dillon won in like 10, 15 seconds. And is Dillon a good fighter? No. Is he a good grappler? Is he an excellent grappler? Of course. But when you talk about being an MMA fighter, you gotta talk about your kicking game. You gotta talk about your kickboxing. You gotta talk about your knees, your elbows, your boxing, your hands, your head movement, your footwork. And Dillon doesn't have a single thing of any of the things that I just mentioned. The only thing that he has is a good single, a good double, and an elite ground game. That can take him to some good places in the MMA world. But do I favor him to beat Islam Makhachev? Do I favor him to beat Bilal Muhammad? Do I favor him to beat RDR? Of course not! He doesn't have a chance in hell to beat any of the names that I just mentioned. But the man is good for the sport. I mean, believe it or not, I believe that Dillon Danis is a good guy. Deep down. Deep down. He's a good guy. And the man can actually have a... Like, if the man stopped copying Conor McGregor and everything, I mean, the man is Armenian, is a New Yorker, originally from Armenia, and the man got an Irish accent. I mean, listen, Dillon Danis is he's a wannabe, you know. That's the problem. But if he actually embraces his own personality, the man can have a very successful career without needing to act like Conor McGregor. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? What do I know? Nonetheless, what else do we have? I mean, and we saw that Joey Essex guy. That was such a fun fight. That was one of the funnest fights I have ever seen in my life, with it being one of the most amateurish fights I have ever seen in my life. But it was entertaining. It was awesome. Joey Essex fought someone. I don't even know who Joey Essex was. I mean, I found out about him in this week, like on Fight Week. What else? I mean, that was about it. Those were the 3 main fights, and I absolutely loved every single bit of them. And that's about it, really. That's about it. Unbelievable card. Shout out to KSI, shout out to Misfits, Mams Taylor, the Wasserman brothers. Wasserman? No, the Sauerland brothers from Wasserman Boxing. Great job, great matchmaking as far as the last few fights. As far as the main and co-main, let's be honest. But yeah, that's about it. Bring on the next Misfits card.